Okay, today I've got my 97 A4 Quattro in the garage here. I've had this car for probably 12 years or 13 years or maybe even more. Love this car. It's got 260 plus thousand miles on it. And got some clunking in the front end. So I'm going to take a look at the suspension up front, see if we can figure out if they've got a loose control arm or what might be happening. So let's take a look. Alright, so I've got the front of the car up in the air, and what I've done to get it up here like this, got a floor jack on each side from right behind the front wheel, right on the pinch weld. And then I'm going to lower it down onto these jack stands right here on the frame. So I'm going to lower it onto the jack stand so that I can kind of safely crawl under here and take a look around. Okay, so here I am on the driver's side, and when I pull in my driveway, the transition from the street to the driveway to be a left-hand turn, I get a click in the left front suspension area here. So as I'm checking things out and kind of prying a pry bar looking for anything loose, this is the sway bar end link, and if I pry on this, I get that sound. And that could be the sound that I'm hearing. Now a while ago I replaced these. These used to be just a aluminum piece with a rubber bushing and a bolt going through it. I replaced it with spherical end, ball joints basically on the top and bottoms to take up any slack from the rubber bushing. So there's no rubber bushing in here, it's just a ball joint, top and bottom, and I think the ball joint is just, because when I touch the end link, I can really feel it. But if I touch just the lower control arm, I don't feel it as much. So I think it's inside these two joints here. I don't know if they're just dry or if they're shot. I mean, I don't see any play, but I do hear this noise. So I want to try something. Before I call that they need to be replaced, I'm going to try something. Okay, so here's what I'm going to try to do. I may end up just having to replace this thing. It's not that expensive. It's not a big deal. The boot doesn't look cracked. It could just be that it needs to be greased. There's no grease fittings anywhere, but I am going to try to grease it with I've got a needle here on my grease gun, and so with this needle I can stick it through the boot. And I'm going to fill this thing with grease. Okay, here we go. We got some grease coming out. I think it's filled. And I'm also going to do the same to the bottom one. Stick it right in there. Hopefully you can see that. Alright, got grease coming out the bottom. So now these are greased. And I've had, on cars in the past, I've had BMWs that had lower ball joints that would creak. And I would do this and it would stop the creak. So let me see if it stops the creak here on this thing. And this might not stop it immediately. I mean, it may take some driving to get the grease to work its way into whatever might be dry. I also might just take this thing off, bring it over to the vise and see what it's really looking like. I do think it's in this joint though, so, and it could just need this greasing, but I'm going to pull it off, bring it over to the bench, and of course they are a pain to get off and on. Debating whether to just give it a couple of days and see if it quiets down, or should I just pull it off right now and take a closer look at it. Maybe we'll just take it off. Alright, let's see if we can get this off of here. There's one. Alright, I'm right here. I'm going to pull this shock off so I can get that end link off and get a closer look at it. Not that big a deal. I'm right here. So let me lock onto that. There we go. Alright, let's bring this over to the bench and take a look at it. Alright, here we go. Let's see what these things actually feel like. This one feels good. This was the bottom. This is the top one. So I'm looking at this boot. It's got a couple of tears in it. I don't know if did I just do that today? It doesn't look clean and brand new, but it's hard to tell. And did I do that when I grabbed it with the vice grip? Doesn't feel as good as this one. This one feels smooth. This one feels like it's got a dead spot in the middle there where it moves easier than the rest of it. Yeah, I think what I might do is just, I can't drive around without this on there, so I got to put it back on. And if the greasing, no, oh no, that's, put it back on there. If it continues to click when I pull in the driveway, I'll know what it is. I'll order a new one. Probably order 2 new ones anyway. I mean, these things, who knows, and I got them on eBay. They're probably cheap as heck. Oh, look at that. Got a crack in it right there. Got a crack in it right there. Yeah, these things are cheap. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and order a couple new ones. And I'll put this one on, order a couple new ones, and then we'll replace them another day. That's the plan. Alright, let's put these cheapo things back in here. For now, temporarily. There we go. These are these crushed nuts. Supposed to be a one-time use. I don't know if you can see that, but they're kind of squished. Kind of a way to lock them on there. There's one. Here's the other one. And this one we've got to grab this thing so it doesn't spin. This is where I'm wondering if I broke that boot or not, but I thought I was being pretty careful. There we go. Tweak this thing that way a little. There we go. Clicking. How about that? No more click. But I know that thing's no good. So I will replace these on both sides, but that's what my noise was. Everything else looks pretty tight in here, which is good. So I think greasing those, and then, you know, I had them off, I moved them around, get the grease really moved around in there. Oiled up those two ball joints. I think it was the ball joints that were clicking. Of course, I'm going to replace them anyway, but that's clicking noise. Check those sway bar end links. Alright, I'm going to put the wheel back on, and if you ever owned a German car, you'll know that they don't give you studs here for the wheel, they just give you lug bolts. And so I'm always fighting to get the wheel in place and then try to get one of these started. So I made this just kind of a fake lug nut. Ground the head of it off. So I'll put it in there. Now I can hang the wheel on this thing, and then it's easier to get the other bolts started. So now it's hanging there by that fake stud, which is nice. Then I've got another socket to pull this stud out. I'll put the last stud in, and it just makes it easier than fighting with that thing, trying to hold it in place. It's around on low pressure, and then I crank it up. And there we are. Alright, so since I'm in the garage here and I got the car up in the air, after looking at the sway bar end link on the driver's side, I thought I'd come over here to the passenger side and do a little inspection. And you know, I'm looking at this upper front control arm, and it just doesn't feel smooth. I'm not sure what's up with it. So I want to inspect it a little more. I'm suspicious of this ball joint right here. So I'm going to take this bolt out, pull this arm up, and I'll be able to feel that ball joint with my hands and see what it feels like, if it's super loose or what, and possibly replace it. I just don't like the way it feels. Alright, so before I go and just grab this bolt with an impact wrench and possibly come into some troubles, I'm going to put a little bit of rust penetrant on it. I found this Mopar stuff works really well. So we'll give this a little spray. Let that work in just a little bit before I go ahead and grab it with a air tool. Put a little rag on the brake here, just so the stuff doesn't drip right down onto my rotors. Okay. Alright, so that's a 16 mil nut. Let's see if we can get it off of there. Whole thing's spinning, so I'll grab that with a wrench. The fact that it's spinning is good, which means it's not frozen inside this knuckle, which can be a problem sometimes. You may have a situation where this bolt just won't come out. It's kind of frozen in there from corrosion and stuff. I mean, I've had these out numerous, like I said, I've had this car for 13, 14 years. I've had this bolt out several times. The first time I tried to take it out, it was a bear, but I lubricated it when I put it back in each time, and it comes out pretty easy. I think I had to torch it the first time to get it out. I was replacing both the upper control arms, so I just laid the heat on here, melted the boots and everything, but this finally did come out. And now it comes out easy because I've always lubricated it before I put it in. Alright, let's see if we can tap this out. I don't like the way that feels at all. So I'm going to go get my grease gun again, and I'm going to inject some oil, some grease into this boot. See if we can't smoothen that out. All right, let's get some oil. Let's get some grease in here. Let's work it around. Let's work some of that grease around in there and see if we can't get it to feel better. And it does feel better. It's tight, but it's smooth now. Let's work it through the whole range while we're here. Get that grease all through it. The other end's tight, it's rubber bushing. Yeah, that feels a lot better. A lot better. Alright. Okay, let's put this back together again. Hopefully, if we can. Like that. I'm going to lubricate this bolt before I put it back in. So, I mean, I'm just going to put a little bit of this brake lubricant stuff on there. Just so it'll come out easy. Next time I pull it out to replace these control arms, because they got to be replaced quite a bit on these Audis, especially if you buy them on eBay. If you buy an OEM control arm, it'll cost you 125, 150 bucks, but they'll last. And you can get them on eBay for like 40 bucks a piece, and they just don't last as long. But when you get 2, 4, 6, 8 of them at 140, 150 bucks a piece, you know, you're laying down some cash. You can buy a complete set for under 500 bucks. It looks appealing at the time, but then of course you're going back and doing stuff like this. Me, I don't mind. I enjoy this kind of work, so let's sock this down. Could hook my air tool to it, but I use air tools more for disassembling stuff. I like to hand torque some things. You get a better feel for how tight you're getting it. There you go. Factory spec. Well, let's see if this feels any different. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Well, it feels a lot smoother. I'm going to put the old fake stud in. Jack out of the way. Nothing's under the car. Okay, so that's it for today. I'm going to order a couple of sway bar end links. We'll get those replaced, but pretty confident that's what the clicking noise was. And, you know, we lubricated a couple of ball joints. So, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.